Good morning, beautiful being. It's lovely to be here with you. I would really like to be outside in the garden, but it's just too windy. So, that means we get to be inside with the rocks, and there really is no problem with that, particularly because, oh dear, making holes in the sofa. We got this today. Good morning, Andrew. This is, a big chunk of white quartz, right? And, sometimes we just get these big ones. They come on. It's pretty sharp on the bottom, and it just hooked itself on the sofa. So, fortunately, no permanent damage done. Good morning. Lovely to see you. So, big sparkly rock. What else do I need to say? There it is. And look, it's got a hole through the middle of it. Almost. There is actually on the bottom. Good morning, Heather. See, this is actually a hole, right? So you can see through it just. And there's another hole there. You can see through that one. There I am. It's pretty cool. This is just a lovely piece. Sharaya, it's you. Good morning. So there we all are. Big hunk of quartz. It's heavy, right? I don't know how much. I really can't remember, but it's, I could do weight training with this. It's possibly not quite as big as it looks. There you are. You can see it in relationship to me. So, I don't know, 20 centimetres by 30 or something like that. So it's a big chunk and it's beautiful. And it has these lovely, clear points, and it's like a little forest and a little cityscape, and we just get to enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to put that somewhere that it won't get hooked on the upholstery. Now, we're still doing quartz, but this one is very different. Now, it's got a little label, and the label says tourmaline hyalite quartz, and it's from the Erongo River, I believe, in South Africa. Now, look at this. This is one of those ones where you got to see the detail. So, the black, obviously, is the tourmaline. The hyalite, I did say that word right, didn't I? Hyalite is this white stuff, which is very fragile. I'm not going to touch it. It almost looks like, how salt, if it gets a bit damp and then it clumps together, it looks a bit like that. But it's amazing. And the quartz itself has got this sort of golden thing going on the ends of each point. There's another one. And even on this one. And it's just fabulous. This is one from my friend Jenny Paolo's collection. And it's, it's fabulous. And this here, I don't know if you can see, it's sort of faintly greeny something. It's a bit micaceous, and I think that might be a bit of epidote. What else have we got? This is one of those rocks that's got everything in it. I've got another everything in it rock on the shelf, and I sort of thought, there's that one too. But look at, dog here. Look at the really fine, let me see if I can show you. See here, there's these tiny little, can you see through? See, they really, there you go. Those really are like cables strung across, a gap. I don't know if you can see, but they are separate from the stone. And so they're little tourmaline points. And it's just a fabulous, fabulous rock. So there you go, showing that off. This is quartz. This is hyalite, and there's the tourmaline, and there are all kinds of other little bits and pieces going on, but I'm going to put it down now. So today, I want to talk about just a comment that you made, Mike, because I know you'll see this. A comment that you made in passing about, because we were talking about creating your future, and the fact that, we need to imagine it, we need to become it, we need to feel it and smell it and taste it and hear it and touch it and move like it and breathe like it and everything like it. And Mike raised a really valid point, which is one I've fallen over myself, which is why I decided to talk about it today. And it's this problem of when you haven't got a clue what your future feels like. Because remember, the reason why I'm going on about what it feels like is because it's very easy for us to say, I want the car, I want the house, I want the perfect family, I want the perfect job, I want to travel the world, I want whatever it is. But all of those things, actually we want them because of how they make us feel. And so someone who has been in poverty their entire life may say, well, I want financial security. I want a house that is my own, that I can't be kicked out of. I want steady income so I can feel safe and all of that. But right about there, you start to realize what they really want is to feel secure. They want to feel safe, right? And if they have lived their entire life in instability and always with threat of eviction or starvation or whatever else, and I mean, this is very real for people who are in the third world. And I'm kind of aware of this because of my friend Sangwari, who lives in the Gambia and faces this shit, right? Then it can be absolutely impossible to imagine how it feels to live the life that you desire. You can theorize it, you can even picture it. But remember, the intellectual process of saying, well, I want this and I want my life to be like this, and you have a picture of it, you can imagine how it sounds and everything, but it's up here in your head. And if 95% of who you are is stored as unconscious or subconscious, two different things, subconscious and unconscious beliefs and perceptions and programs and everything in your body, and your conscious mind is only 5% of the deal, then if your body is still running the programs of I'm scared, I'm insecure, somebody can come and take this from me tomorrow and I've got to watch out for all this stuff, and you try to say, well, I'm imagining myself feeling safe, and the body's going, no, you're not. No, you're not. Who are you trying to kid? So it's that problem, right? That challenge when you are really wanting to imagine and create within yourself the experience of the future that you desire, and you just haven't got any idea how it feels. Because it's so far from your normal experience and how you normally experience your life and yourself. To make it more personal, that was me. When was it? God, I don't know what year it was. Several years ago now, 2016 or whenever it was, when I just drew a line in the sand and said, I gotta face this fucking abundance thing down. I got to deal with this. I got to make this a priority. I got to start dancing with this. I got to do something, because all I knew, and I didn't even know that all I knew was lack. And nobody's fault. I am not putting blame on anybody. This is just how I perceived and believed the world was, and I perceived and believed the world was like that very, very well. So it was just really, excuse me, tickly throat. It was just really difficult to imagine anything else. And you notice I say some years ago because it's taken me a long time. It's going faster now because I have better tools. So we've got to get the mind and the body in agreement. And therein lies the rub, because the body is very convinced about how lackful everything is. And, all of the stories that I can tell myself about how difficult it is and how I can't do it and I've tried and I've failed and, all of that, right? That's all stored in my body as memories and chemistry and energy, and I'm not going into that. But trust me, it's a fact. 95% of who you are by the time you're 35, if you're younger, it's different. But by the time you're 35, 95% of who you are is just automatic programs. They're hardwired in your brain. Your body is conditioned into feeling like that. It does it automatically, whether you want to or not. It's just who you are, and it's who you think you are, but it's not actually who you are. So if you want to become somebody who is completely not who you're used to being, this can present a problem. So how do you take the first bite out of the apple? And as I discovered myself with my immense lack mentality, which I didn't even know how immense it was, right? Just didn't have a clue. I had to start somewhere. And what I now know, jumping forward several years, what I now know is that it doesn't matter that you don't know. It doesn't matter if you haven't got a clue, if you spent your entire life in insecurity. It doesn't matter that you don't really know what it feels like to become secure. Because you've had all of those experiences of insecurity and trauma and difficulty. And every experience we have that is novel and new makes the brain pick up, pay attention, gather sensory data from the environment that's around you when you're having the experience, and notice how your chemistry is altered because of whatever's happening to you. And it makes a synaptic connection. It forms a memory, and that memory has chemistry associated with it. And there's that new neural network about feeling insecure. And then the next day or the next hour or the next week, you have another experience that also triggers that up. It's like you remember that, oh my goodness, that's the same person, that's the same situation. You fire and wire that neural net, that synaptic connection, you fire and wire it again, but because you have another experience, it's layers on top. You make more neural connections. You actually enrich the neural connections in your brain about feeling insecure. And every time you have another experience, it gets bigger. And every time you think about it, it gets bigger. So this is what literally happens in our brains. And of course, the more you think about it and have the experience either in your mind and the chemistry flows and your body goes, oh, it's happening again. Or in quote unquote real life, and the chemistry flows and your body says, oh, it's happening again. And it doesn't make any difference whether you think about it or whether you experience it. So the body is real. It's the same. So every time you do that, the neural net gets more established and the chemistry gets more established and your body gets conditioned to it, right? So that's how it happens. And there are people who, they live a perfectly ordinary life and then something happens that it's big enough and powerful enough that they perk up and pay attention. The brain goes, oh, this is big. Traumatic event is obviously the big example, but it can be something quite small as well. And then, maybe they go to a new job and they have a new colleague, who's actually a bully and they don't know it yet, but that person just throws them a jibe. And they either respond by, whatever, by going, or some part of them reacts and is hurt, and that person goes, oh yeah, here's someone I can pick on. And it comes and it comes and it comes, and slowly, because they keep reacting, because they have that capacity in them to feel small and worthless, that other, they develop this emotional and energetic connection, and the neural net about I feel worthless just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's how it grows in us. That you can have a seed that is planted and it's negative, but you can also have a seed that is planted and it's positive. And this is what I have learned to understand about how it works for me. That I had to start somewhere, and what I didn't know, which I do know now, is when I first started to think thoughts about having enough, about having more than enough, about actually feeling good about sending an invoice to someone, actually feeling good about receiving payment, actually feeling okay to ask for more than just the bare, and I'm still working through this because it's so deep in me and so programmed from my parents and my society and all that. And again, I'm not blaming anyone, it's just how it was. Those neural nets, I had to start somewhere. So I had to start imagining anything that was remotely like where I wanted to go. It was like the best approximation I could make, right? And what I now know is that the best approximation you can make is fine, even if it's miles away from where you want to be. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that you are choosing something different. You're choosing to create a different experience inside yourself by thinking. And just this morning, really big change in my energy around all of this, right? I'm not telling you the story, it's too long. But at the moment, my brain is quite confused because I don't actually know how to think and feel about the thing that I was working with. And that's good. Because how I used to feel and think about the thing that I was working with was not good. I don't know how I do want to feel and think about it right now. But at least I'm not stuck in the old pattern anymore, At least that's no longer the thing going on in my head. Robert, lovely to see you. So this is the challenge that we face, is that you actually have to deconstruct the old self, and you have to be willing to not know how it's gonna feel and to realise that that's normal and it's okay. And so emotionally, I'm in a bit of a void about that particular thing, which is quite a big thing, really. It's all hooked up with worthiness, really. Anything that we can't let into our lives is hooked up with not feeling worthy to have it. And I just manifested a couple of things, and I saw a pattern, and I thought, oh my goodness, I've got all these beliefs and these thoughts, and they've been running for decades, and I never noticed them like this before. big deal for me. I'm really excited. It's like, thank you for having these couple of things go quote unquote a little bit wrong so I can notice this response that came up. Where did that come from? Ow, that hurts. What is that? Oh, this is what I believe about me, what I'm worthy of, what I can't. So it's a process. And so if you can't imagine what it's like to feel safe, well, maybe you've seen a movie or you've seen somebody else who looks like they might be feeling safe. Or you've seen a picture in a magazine or something that you can remember, because that concept of feeling safe, you must have some experience of it somewhere, because otherwise you wouldn't know that you wanted it, right? So what is it that you feel you want? Get a picture. Add some sound to that. Add some sensation to that. Put yourself there. And this can feel very mechanical, and that's okay. Just put yourself in that person's shoes, for example. And it's going to feel weird, and it's not going to fit. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be natural. And you know why? Because you don't got no neural nets in your brain about how it is to feel safe. You're starting from scratch. So expect it to feel weird and strange, like, the first time you pick up a violin and try to play it. Says she who played the violin for 20 years. It's gonna create neural dissonance, because suddenly you're not doing what you're used to doing. It's unfamiliar. And, by the time we're 35, we stop learning and we just use our feeling as the means of thinking, and we run everything on a program and just that's how it is. No! Do something new in your mind, in your feeling, in your imagination. Grab something from your memory vault, because you wouldn't want it if you hadn't seen it or heard it or observed it or experienced it somehow. So bring it to yourself and start observing it. And this is planting a seed in your awareness. You start paying attention to how this would feel and what you would be doing if your life was like that, and then how it would feel to be doing that. And the more you internally kind of turn the diamond around, look at the different facets, like, we pick this up, we look at all the different bits, all the different angles, and you see all the different details, and every time you observe something new, it becomes more real to you, and here you make another synaptic connection about that experience. Now, the piece that people find challenging, and I did too until I understood why this works, why it really can work, is that you think, but this isn't happening. I still feel scared. I still see all these things in my world that are frightening or that are poverty-stricken or whatever it is. What are you talking about? But remember, when you make that synaptic connection, you really clearly imagine for the first time, maybe just sitting at a table and you've eaten a wonderful meal and your belly is full and the room is comfortable and it feels safe. Maybe that's all you can imagine. There's quite a lot just in imagining that if you've never had it. But maybe you managed to get yourself a little bit there. What have you just done? You've assembled a new neural network inside your brain. You have literally made connections. Oh, well, there's the room, and and the walls are not got holes in them, and it's quite pleasantly warm in here, and I've eaten a wonderful meal, and there's just some nice people that I like with me. And maybe that's all you can do. You just imagine it for a moment, but for long enough to just get a really clear sense of, oh, okay, I'm there. Now what happens is, as you string those neurons together to make a new neural net about having a full belly and feeling happy with people that you like in a nice safe place, your body starts to get a dose of the chemistry that would actually happen if that was happening. And from your body's point of view, when you do that, when you start to feel your imagination, it is happening. It is literally happening as far as your body is concerned while you hold that experience within you. And then what happens? Well, the next time you want to imagine it, it's a little bit easier because you can draw on that experience and enrich it some more. You can say, well, what's on this table? what kind of, what am I eating off and what am I eating with, and what is the food that I'm eating? What's my just perfectly imagined meal, and can I see a little bit more clearly who is sitting at the table with me? It might be your family that you want to see safe and well fed. It might be completely different people that you really like to be with. You plant a seed in your awareness, and then what happens, because you're starting to think about this and put your attention on it, and where you put your attention is where you put your energy. You energize it. You literally start to put energy into it. And then you carry on through your day and you start to see things in your environment that you never saw before. You start to see the world differently. Now, why is that? Because you've installed new neural nets in your brain, and now your brain by association can see things in the environment that remind you of what you've been thinking about and feeling that you didn't do before. So you see a house and you think, oh, that'd be a nice house. Maybe I can imagine that house that I like. And, you walk, I don't know, you see a picture in some magazine or on YouTube or whatever, you think, well, maybe that I can imagine the inside of the room is like that. And you start to build this and enrich it. And the more you do it, the more your body gets the sense of what it's like. And the more that neural net grows. And because you're paying less attention to the old neural net about feeling the other way, and you see, I try not to even use the words, because I use the word insecure, I fire up that thing, so I'm not feeling that way anymore. And the less you pay attention to that, the more you fire these synapses, and the less you fire the other ones. The old synaptic connections are going to prune apart if you're not giving them attention and not using them. Use the new ones. That's planting the seed and watering it. And it feels weird because, you're used to firing the old things and feeling the old chemistry. And I'm inviting you to find new thoughts and have new chemistry, and realize that because of the clearer your intention and the more elevated your emotion, the clear intention and the elevated emotion, when you get mind and body in agreement, and that broadcasts the signal to the universe that tells it what to give you. That's how this works. It's astonishing, really. So that's what I wanted to say today. It's a wonderful topic. And the other thing I want to say now is that it's Tuesday. It's Saint Marie Tuesday. So I'll be back in 3.5 hours to give you an update on what he's been doing and his wonderful exam results. We're all very proud of him. I hope you'll join us. Big love. Until then, bye-bye.